Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week chapter 1 of Love Notes.
Chapter 1. Week chapter 1.
Week chapter 1.
Week 1, chapter 1.
Week 1. Should we try that again?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to week 1 of Love Notes. Woo! Middle school edition. Well, guys, shh. So we're going to enter into a mature conversation. You guys ready for that? You're not ready for it. I believe you're ready for it. Before we do, we want to just briefly introduce ourselves if you happen to not know who we are.
I'm Bree, and I am Jamin's wife. I almost said husband. I'm Jamin's wife. We've been married for 3.5 years.
We've been married for 3.5. I gotta check my notes. But we've been together for 5.5 years.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
Jamin. Put W in the Jamin in the chat. No, I was kidding.
That was crazy. And
Thanks, chat.
Who are you?
Oh, my name is Jamin, and I am married to Bree. This is my wife, Bree. But I like to say, you know what I like to say? I like to say that I'm married to my best friend, Bree, because she is my best friend.
You're my best friend.
Yeah.
You're my best friend.
And that goes into what we're going to be talking about, Shanita. It's okay. It goes into what we're going to talk about today, which, are you guys ready for this? We're talking about red flags.
Red
flags.
That caused quite a stir.
Was it?
That caused quite a stir.
I know. Wait.
Now listen. When we say red flags, this does not mean you start calling out people next to you.
Yes.
Because listen, you've got a red flag yourself.
Yes.
Yes.
Here's the thing. This is important, okay? Mm-hmm. Because for many things, I'm getting ahead of myself, but today's going to be great because we're going to talk about how to identify red flags in relationships. But before we get there, I wanted to just quickly address the elephant in the room, which is what grade are we in? 6th, 7th, 8th grade. It's okay. Yeah. So we're in 6th, 7th, 8th grade. So what does dating even look like in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade? Hold on. I want to hear. What? Tell me. Holding hands. Premarital hand holding. I'm just kidding.
What else, Eldon?
Wait, hold on. What else? Thank you. Hey.
Snap.
This is a safe place, okay? So let me translate. You see somebody you find attractive, and you're like,
hey,
I want to hold their hand. That's what.
Can we hold hands?
What else does? Hold on. What else does dating look like in middle school?
Girl, this pertains to you.
Shh. Hugging, yeah. Can I tell you guys about my first relationship?
I'm curious.
Shh.
I'm so curious.
I was 12 years old. I was 12. And I met this girl who I had a big crush on.
It's not me. It
wasn't her. No, I didn't even know her yet. But listen.
I was 10.
I'm sorry.
I said I was 10.
And so what I did is I went up to one of her friends and I said, hey, can you ask, what should we call? We'll call her Jordan. That's a very specific name. And I said, will you go and ask Jordan if she likes me?
Snap.
And so she went and told her other friend that was not Jordan, hey, can you go and ask Jordan
Another one.
if she likes Jamin? And then 3 friends later, eventually Jordan hears it, and then she writes down on a piece of paper and then folds it up and then gives it to a friend who gives it to a friend who gives it to a friend who gives it to me, and I read it, and she says, yes, I'll be your girlfriend. And you know what? You want to know what happened after that?
What?
We would occasionally see each other in the hall, and I would say, and then we pretend to be here for, and then we'd be at recess. You gotta stand up. We'd be at recess, and we'd be like hanging out, and let's say, well, I gotta go. And then I'd run away. That's basically how my first relationship went.
Wow.
True story. How did it end? Well, it turns out that she was not a Christian, and I was like, well.
We said red flag.
That's cool.
Wasn't that good? That was good.
So, all jokes aside, though. As we get into this conversation, I want to define, what do I mean when I say red flag? When I say red flag, we're specifically talking about, you guys ready? This is good to take notes, too, if you guys want to take some notes, okay? Emily said she's okay. All right. A red flag is a warning sign that something may be unhealthy, unsafe, or needs to be addressed, right? So when we get into what dating looks like in middle school, I think a lot of time it isn't about being super serious. I mean, can you guys agree it's not always? I mean, it feels real, right? It feels serious, but it's more so about like curiosity, connection, kind of pursuing. Like I had a crush on this Jordan girl, and so I wanted to find out, would she accept me to be her boyfriend? So anyways, but as you guys move into high school, dating starts to begin to look a little bit different. It's less about being like awkward and whatever else, and it starts to be kind of like a normal part of teenage life. Now, can I ask you guys to be bold? How many of you have dated somebody so far? Okay, I'm just curious. All right, put your hands up. I'm not gonna ask how many. So let's, as we move forward, let's define, boys, prove the statistics wrong. Show me that you can lock in, okay? Bree, would you read for us our simple definition of what dating is?
You mean our super simple definition?
Super simple definition.
I would love to.
Of what dating is.
So our super simple definition of what dating is the process a single person goes through to find the person they want to marry.
Super simple, right?
Super simple.
So essentially, if we were to just get on the same page, dating is a process, right? It's a process. Sometimes it can be a year long and then you get engaged. Sometimes it can be 3 months. I don't recommend that, but it can be, or sometimes it can be like 4 or 5 years of dating. But it's a process. Here's a more detailed definition, okay? This is a more detailed definition of what dating is within the context of being a Christian, okay? Dating is the intentional, honoring process by which two believers explore, under spiritual accountability, whether they might honor God together in a future marriage. So it's good to define it, because the Bible actually doesn't give us an explicit definition, or doesn't even really mention dating. But because we're followers of Jesus, we've been given instructions through Jesus on how we are to live. And so we're able to take these principles of what he teaches and apply that to what dating is. And essentially, dating is the process of finding the person you would hope to marry. That is, assuming that you want to get married. Not everybody wants to get married, and that's totally okay. You don't have to. But the problem is, and we'll get to this moment, is that you don't want to get married, but you still want to just date a lot. That doesn't quite make sense, but we'll get to that in a bit more, okay? But my encouragement is, because there's a lot of fundamental things that we're not going to get into right here. If you are interested, I posted a video on our YouTube channel explaining the basics of that we are actually made for relationship, that God designed each one of you to be in relationship with other people. That not only romantically, but also with our friends and our family and whatnot. All those things, God made that. He gave you this ability to have feelings for people, to have love for people. So that's a good thing. God created that good thing. But how do we steward those things? How do we not let it control us, but submit it to the authority of Jesus? Does that make sense? Does that feel like a good introduction?
Yeah, that feels good.
Okay.
That feels good.
Should we get into our first red flag?
I feel like we should.
You guys ready for the first red flag? Ready? Bro, my bro is hyped. Let's go. All right.
I mean, a lot of them did like the color red.
You did like the color red.
There was a lot of people that liked the color red.
So you're
and
already
dark
kind of
red.
bought in a little bit. You're like, this is going to be good. Watch. Deanna, show them the next one. Ooh, red. Okay, so red flag number 1. This is a faith misalignment issue. When Jesus is not the center of your relationship. Mm-hmm. Now, really quick. You're right, my brother in Christ. But hold on. This is assuming that if you are a Christian and if you do love Jesus, that you desire to honor him. These things, I'll be honest with you, these things don't apply to you if you have no desire to follow Jesus. And I can't force you to do that. Now, what I would tell you through our testimony and through life, that following Jesus is the better way. That in him and in living our life for him, there's freedom and there's all these beautiful blessings that we get to experience. So my encouragement is with all things doing life, to do it God's way. Because when we do it God's way, the way he designed it for us, there's a better result that takes place. So this is assuming those things. So the first red flag is dating somebody who does not share the same faith as you. Dating someone who does not believe the same things that you believe. Now, Bree, have you done this before?
Yes.
Would you like to tell us about it?
Well, many times. It is very difficult. I also was dating someone when I wasn't very secure in who I was in God. So the person, when they weren't even pursuing a relationship with Jesus, but I wanted to, but I was still learning to, it made it very difficult. Because this person was someone I wanted to spend time with, someone I wanted to talk with. And so when we weren't even able to talk together about Jesus, and I was trying to do it on my own, it really drained me and hindered my process of learning more about Jesus. I wasn't even fully bought in yet on Jesus, but I knew that I wanted to learn more about him, but it made it really difficult. Yeah. And it put a lot of road barriers on my path of finding out more about Jesus for myself.
Yeah. And the reason why this is important, we see in Scripture, 2 Corinthians chapter 6, Paul talks about this briefly. He says, do not be yoked together with unbelievers. Now, this word, have you guys ever heard this word yoked before? It's not talking about being like...
Not like eggs.
Not like Andrew Jones strong.
Good question, though.
But instead, it's like in farm industry, culture. There's this thing called a yoke that would be put onto 2 cows or 2 horses, and it would cattle, and it would pull the carriage. You guys ever seen that where the animals wear something around their neck together, and together they pull the carriage? They pull it, right? Yes, but instead it's like, but yes, you're exactly right. Essentially, Paul talks about here, he says, do not be yoked together with unbelievers. For what do righteousness and wickedness have in common? Or what fellowship can light have with darkness? So his warning is specifically for unbelievers. So that can be atheists, that can be Mormons, that could be even like everything else in between, people who are really into science. No, I'm just kidding. But no, like that goes for a variety of beliefs, right? Unbelievers, those who do not believe. Now, the reason why that's so important is because if we were to use that picture of having an evenly yoked cattle, right, or unevenly yoked, if you have one super strong cow, for example, and you partner him with a not so strong donkey, right? The cow is going to pull harder than the donkey. And in the process, the cow might get hurt because the donkey is not cooperating. It's not being able to pull the same amount of weight. So the reason why that imagery is so important is because when you have two beings, essentially, that are not the same in that what they believe, one is going to drag down the other. Now, there's a phrase I want to give you guys. It's actually kind of a funny phrase within our Christian community. It's called missionary dating. You guys ever heard that phrase, missionary dating, before? So,
No.
what is a missionary? What's a missionary?
Serenity? Great job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, missionary dating is when you get into a relationship with somebody and you say something like, "I can change him. I can fix him. I can change them. I can get them to convert." The reason why that's so dangerous, the reason why that's so dangerous is because Paul warns against this. And like Bree mentioned in your story, what did you say again?
And what, the whole thing?
No, just like what, like the result. What did it do to you?
It drained me.
Drained you.
It drained me. It hindered me from getting closer to Jesus.
Yeah. And not even, I also did the same thing. Actually, it was the relationship just before I met Bree. She specifically was not a believer when I met her, and I had that same mentality. I can fix her, but I didn't say that. But I was like, I tried to justify it in a way. But essentially, what we're trying to get out here is this is dangerous because it's way easier to pull somebody down than it is to pick somebody up. Does that make sense? And when we're describing this too, I'm not trying to make it sound like unbelievers are lesser or like bad people or anything like that. Like everybody's created in the image of God. But the reality is if you're not partnering with somebody that shares the same core beliefs as you, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult because the beliefs that you have about specific important issues, they're not going to line up, and it's going to be very difficult, right? Bree, did you have another passage that you wanted to share?
I did. Looking in Proverbs 27:17, this is as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. And I was thinking about this passage in looking at this red flag of unequally yoked because I was like, why does iron sharpen iron? And it's like, because if you try using wood or rubber or plastic, like it's going to dull the iron.
Yeah.
So in the same essence of iron sharpens iron, we need to be equally yoked, which is what we're called, because even friendships, relationships, they're meant to help us grow and not pull us backward. So when you choose someone as a close friend, as a boyfriend, as a girlfriend, you're choosing someone who will greatly influence you and who you will also greatly influence. And so because you naturally, it's proven, it's true, that we become like the people we are around. We become like our friends. We become like our family. We will become like our boyfriend or girlfriend.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have red flag, being unequally yoked. In addition to that, church avoidance. If a person is basically anti-church, or they resist community or accountability, or they pull you away from community, that's also another red flag. Because for those of you who are here and you do value church, don't you want somebody who's going to come with you to church and encourage you to go to church. We don't want somebody who's going to deter us away from it, right? And then the last thing I wanted to add here is that for if you're in a relationship with somebody and you feel distant from God when you're with them, that's another red flag, because relationships, ultimately, the way God designed them, healthy ones, is for us to, as we get closer to each other, we'll ultimately get closer to God as well, right? There's an analogy, I forgot to get a picture of it, but you guys know like a triangle? Everyone picture a triangle like this? Serenity, participate. A triangle has three sides, so there's a top, right? And then there's two bottoms. So imagine it's a man and a woman, and as they get closer to each other, God is at the top, they will continue to get closer to God.
Oh.
That's God's
I
heart
like that.
for a healthy marriage. That as you get closer to Him, you will also get closer to each other. As you get closer to each other, you'll get closer to Him. Does that make sense?
I like
That's God's heart. That's His design. But if you have something else where it's you're trying to get to God, but this person doesn't want to, then it's going to be very difficult, right? So, key thing to take away here: a healthy relationship should draw both people closer to Jesus, right? So, a green flag, on the other hand,
the green flags
talk about
of
the green
this.
flag. What would the green flag be?
So this would be a shared pursuit of Jesus. They're genuinely growing in their faith, and they want to help you grow too in your faith. The person they are becoming is becoming more like Jesus. So, for instance, you're not interested in the person they are, but in the person that they are becoming. So do you see that their actions, that their behaviors are going to grow into someone that you want to be with? Because listen, I've thought it before, like, oh, he's just perfect. Everything's about her is perfect. He's perfect, but it's not true. Nobody's perfect. So it's, who are they growing to become? Are you still interested in that person too? Do you see healthy habits being formed? Are they engaged in church, community, and prayer? These are all green flags. And it's not just for the show of it, but genuinely because they love God and they love community. And being around them just strengthens your walk, not your worry.
Yeah.
Not your worry.
That's good. I can say confidently, one of the main reasons why I kind of had a feeling Bree was going to be the one was because of how light I felt. Like in all the other relationships, and I'm never trying to compare Bree to past, but like from my experiences, when I entered into relationship with Bree, it was different. I felt lighter. I felt at peace. I felt like that I wasn't doing something wrong. So all those things are good indicators that you're possibly on the right track, right? And yeah, so you think green flag, being in community is good. If you have somebody they're interested in and they are also for being in community, that is a good thing, right?
Yes.
Again, it's not about perfection, right? We're never going to find that perfect person, but it is about who they are becoming. And are they becoming a person of love, or are they becoming something different, right?
Yeah.
Should we move on to red flag number 2?
Red flag number 2.
You guys ready? You guys still with us here? All right. Red flag number 2 is all about heart misalignment, when the relationship becomes an idol. You guys, what is an idol? Yeah, Mackenzie? Anything above God. Do you have something to add to it? Close. Yeah, what about it? What else? Yeah. It's essentially what all you guys are saying is like somebody who, did you in the back, did you want to add something? Yeah.
Yeah, something you spend a lot of time with.
Spend a lot of time with, yeah.
On. Yeah.
It's taking something that is created, a person, an object, whatever, and putting that in the place of God. So if you were to worship it, right, spending all your time, your energy, right, looking up to them for everything, that person or that thing can become an idol. And God has something very specific to say about idols. Does anybody know what God says about idols? What? Yeah, 10 Commandments. Don't have any other gods before me. Don't have any other gods in your life, right? And that doesn't just mean those little statues, right? Those little gold statues, although that does include little gold statues, but that could be anything that takes the place of God. So what does that mean, right? Idolatry of the relationship. The person or relationship becomes more important than God. The person that you're with or the relationship itself becomes more important than God, meaning that it's the only thing you think about. It's the only thing you spend your time on. It's the only person that you spend time with. It's the only thing, it's the only thing. That is an idol. Another way you could see it is if there is unhealthy dependency. This means that they rely on you to fix or complete them instead of Christ. You guys, this is so dangerous because when a person is looking for you to fill the place of God in their life, that's a heavy burden to hold. When somebody looks at you in a relationship and says, I need you to make me happy. I need you to make me feel fulfilled. I need you to complete me. That's a heavy burden to bear. And that's not God's design. God's design is that he would be that in that place because he can handle that, because he can sustain, he can fulfill, he can do all those things that we desperately need at a human level. But then a companion, a person, is just a way that God uses to speak in and to grow you as an individual. But they're not your source of happiness. They can't be, right? They can't be your source of happiness.
Yeah, I think there's sometimes a misunderstanding with that too, because it's like, oh, I'm just so much happier when I'm with you. And that could be true. Yeah. Like, this is someone you love and you care about. So you could be happier with them. But when you don't feel like yourself when you're not with them, or you truly only feel okay when you are with them, so you're like, I'll just always be with them, in the reality, you're not always going to be with them. Yeah. Like, maybe it won't work out, or end of the day, you're by yourself. You're in your bedroom, and are you feeling so isolated because they're not there? Yeah. That's a deeper heart issue that we need to look at. So it can be confused because it'd be like, oh, but I love them, so I'm just so happy when I'm with them. And it's like, yeah, that's okay. But if you just don't feel like yourself when you're not with them, then we got to backtrack and look at some different things.
It's easy to happen in any situation. Like I said, anything can become an idol. Anything that increasingly becomes, or let me say it this way. When something becomes a good thing, when it becomes the main thing, it becomes the bad thing. Mm-hmm. Something that is good, that God created us for, relationship, he created us to enjoy these things, but when that good thing becomes the main thing in our life, it becomes a bad thing. So we have to keep it in check. We have to constantly be just being aware of, Lord, and ultimately, let me say it this way, just to make it very simple. If you're pursuing God, Jesus says, if you seek the kingdom above everything else will be figured out. Yeah. If you seek the kingdom and his righteousness, all these other things will be figured out. So if you seek Jesus first and you pursue him, a lot of these other things are going to fall in the right place. If God stays on the throne of your heart, everything else will sort of fall into place. But that doesn't mean that things will try to creep up and try to steal your affection, your adoration, your worship. That happens all the time. Yeah. I know a practical thing, not relationships, but for both of us, we both talk to each other about our phones and the amount of time we spend on social media, and we both have to keep each other in check because we're like, you know what? I realize that this good thing, this good resource is becoming a big problem in my life. And so we just check it, okay, back up, put it in its place, and keep moving forward. Does that make sense? You guys got that flag? Yeah. Now what's the green flag?
The green flag is a Christ-centered identity, both in ourselves and the other person.
That's right.
So we know who we are in Jesus, not just who we are with them.
Yes.
They give you space for both people to grow individually and spiritually, and they encourage honesty, authenticity, and healthy independence. Because even when you're in a relationship, you are growing together to God. You're both growing with each other towards God, but you're also still growing individually. That doesn't stop. And so if that does stop, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
So you want to keep growing individually. Like when Jamin and I started dating, I was like, yes, we are spending time in prayer and talking about God together, but I still need to do that on my own.
Yeah.
Like when I'm by myself, I still need to talk to God. I still need to pray and read my Bible separately. So individual growth is still happening. That's a green flag. And the relationship supports your life.
Yeah.
It doesn't replace it. Your life is not now your relationship, but you have a relationship in your life. So those are green flags.
And if I could just give you guys any tips, I've heard it said this way before. Find somebody who loves Jesus more than you.
That's good.
It sounds really
That's good.
like weird. It sounds like, but I want them to love me too. But if somebody loves Jesus a whole lot, then you're gonna be okay. Because if they love Jesus more, then that means that God is in his rightful place. And because of how we are to live and follow Jesus, as we love God, we can't not love his people. And as we love his people, we can't not love God in the process, right? They're intertwined. So that is the green flag for that one. Are you guys ready for the final red flag that we have for you guys today? You guys are doing fantastic. Thumbs up, or give me a range, thumbs up, thumbs down. How helpful is this so far? Thumbs up being really helpful, thumbs down being like, I'm confused. Okay, I see some stuff going on. Okay, let me ask you this. This is a good question. I'll thank you, Jesus. Okay, you guys ready for this? Do you guys see this advice conflicting with what the world says? Do you guys understand the question? Do you understand the question?
Can we ask in what ways?
Yeah. In what ways does this advice, or what God is informing us to do, how does that conflict with the world? Let's go Brooklyn and then Ember. That's right. That's a great example. Ember? Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Ember has a great point, and
Really good.
we'll finish with this, okay? Ember said a really good thing. The world will tell you to pursue happiness and to keep pursuing happiness. Whatever makes you happy, do it. Whatever makes you feel good, do it. But that's not the way of Jesus. Because happiness is dependent on what's happening, but God wants to give you an everlasting joy. Right? Happiness is temporary, it's fleeting, and also happiness isn't actually the main goal of life. The main goal of life is living for our God and our Creator, and out of that overflow, there's joy, peace, blessings, goodness, and byproducts. There will be happiness.
Yeah.
But don't pursue happiness. Don't pursue, especially happiness in another person. That's not going to be good. Okay, Bree, you ready?
Yeah.
Third and final flag. This last flag is all about character misalignment, meaning when their fruit doesn't match their faith. Can anybody tell me what that means when I say fruit? What is fruit? You're saying it. Love, joy. What is it? What is it specifically? Yeah. The fruits of the Spirit. Thank you. You are saying them. My brother in Christ over there.
Strawberries.
Yeah, we have
Blueberries.
love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control.
Self-control.
Right. So, when their fruit doesn't match their faith. So, one of these areas can be a lack of respect, okay? A person or maybe this is you, who knows? But when an individual disregards your boundaries, opinions, or emotions.
Yes, and especially when because I see this a lot. It's like you're mean, and then you say, "Oh, I'm just joking." Like, no, that's not okay, especially in a relationship, because you don't know if they're just joking. You don't know those people well, and this even goes for your friends, you guys. Like, it's literally in the Bible. Like, let your yes be yes, your no be no. Like, your words have power. So being mean and ending it with I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Like, that's a lack of respect. That
Yeah.
is a lack of respect.
A person can say anything with their mouth. They can say anything, but what the Bible tells us to do is do a fruit inspection. Meaning, it means look and pay attention. Shh. Pay attention to the way they live. Are they a loving person? Are they a joyful person? Are they self-controlled? Are they gentle? You go down the list. And what you can do as well, if you go to Galatians chapter 5, which says, but the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Actually, that's a different part I want to get to. Hold on, guys. We're almost done, so try to stick with me, okay? What is it? Control, yeah, the control of the self. Any action. That could be the way that it could be eating, controlling yourself and not eating too much. It could be touching people, not pushing or being aggressive towards people. It can be, yeah, exactly. You're lacking self-control because you went and touched your friend's face and he licked it, so he's also lacking some self-control there. That's okay.
Yeah. It
But
can be your thoughts.
It can be your thoughts.
Yeah. The just kidding jokes, it's not saying the thing, so
Yeah.
you don't have to say just kidding.
Gentlemen, shh. So here's the next part I want to get into. It's the second part. Control or manipulation. When a person, and listen very closely, because unfortunately this happens more than we like to admit. Shh. When a person uses guilt, pressure, or isolation to get what they want. You guys, in unhealthy relationships, it's possible for one person to dominate the relationship and determine what you can and cannot do. That is not okay. And that is not a godly relationship, and that is not God's plan for you, and that is not that's not even what a partnership is. If you are in a relationship with somebody and they are guilting you in order for you to do something, that is not okay. If you're in a relationship with somebody and they're pressuring you to do something that you don't want to do, that is not okay. When you're in a situation where a person intentionally, and this is very important, intentionally tries to isolate you from your friends, meaning you can't hang out, you can't see your friends, isolate you from family, no, don't talk to your family, or isolate you from church, those things are not okay, right? That is control and manipulation.
Yeah, and that goes for any point in the relationship.
Any point.
So it's like, oh, but we've been together for 8 months. No, it's still not okay. It's still not okay. And it can be anything from like complaining when you aren't with them. Missing someone is one thing, but if they're like, no, you really have to sit by me at lunch, or they got upset at you because you were talking to someone else, those are all like indicators of like, oh, I think this might be a red flag.
Yeah.
This just might be.
Yeah. And again, when we use the term red flag, remember, it's an indicator. God has given you his Spirit, right? If you are a follower of Jesus, you have the living Holy Spirit living inside of you. And God's Spirit will kind of raise a flag in your spirit and in your mind and in your heart and be like, hey, this isn't right. I need you to pay attention. We need to listen for that. And so that goes for any relationship. As you, again, if we were to use a very simple definition of dating, it's looking for a partner, looking for somebody you desire to spend your life with. A lot of you guys aren't really at that place right now in middle school. You're not really looking for a husband or wife, right? So it doesn't like necessarily apply. But eventually, like as you guys continue to grow older, you're going to be paying attention to what you're looking for, the type of person that you desire to be with. Now, I wanted to read you guys another scripture, 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Paul gives us a description of what true love is, okay? Let me read this for you really quick. 1 Corinthians 13, we're almost done. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others, it is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. This is Paul's description of what true godly love looks like. Now, as we are pursuing people, even when it comes to friendships and the people that we pursue, we should desire to find people who are embodying this type of love. Does that mean they're going to be perfect? No. People are going to mess up. People are going to slip up. People are going to slip up. But here's the thing. What I want you guys to pay attention to is not by what somebody tells you, because people can tell you, oh, I love you, and you're this and you're that, and whatever. But a lot of times, actions speak louder than words. Mm-hmm. Or they can say, yeah, I love Jesus, and I'm a Christian, and it's like, it's all cool, man. Yeah, like, not of this world, whatever. And it's like, but are you living like it? Mm-hmm. Do you live like you're saved? Do you live like a Christian? Do you live like somebody who embodies what God says that we are to live like, right? Mm-hmm. And then let's end with this. Here's the green flag, right? Here's the green flag. Bree, go ahead and lead us.
They honor your boundaries. They listen well. They treat others around them with kindness. Who they are in public and in private matches up. They take responsibility. If they do something wrong or say something wrong, they take responsibility. They show humility and they value integrity. They're kind and respectful to you, to your friends, to their family, to your family. And they can receive feedback about their relationship when you voice it. Yeah. But that does mean that you got to voice it, though. Yeah. That does mean it. So that's important, too.
Yeah. So in short, we desire to find somebody who loves you with their actions, not only their words. Okay. So as we finish up, I'd love your guys' attention just for one last moment, because there's one last thing that's super important that we need to talk about, okay? This is all just very quick pro tips. And if you are dating, I pray that you guys would listen to the Spirit's leading in your life. Because as God's Spirit and as He leads you, He's going to speak to you about the people that you're pursuing. And He's going to raise these flags within your spirit. He's going to use these things within you to say, like, is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? Should you continue pursuing it or should you end it? And my encouragement for you is the better way is always to be obedient to what God is calling you to do. One of those areas, again, because we're talking about middle school right here, you guys have to also consider, because you are in middle school, you live under your parents' authority. So if your parents have told you that you cannot date in this season and you do it anyway, then I'm sorry to say it, but you're the red flag. Because a follower of Jesus would honor their parents and submit to their authority, right? So if you're going behind their back and still trying to pursue somebody, even though they said not to, you're kind of being the red flag, because the other person that's pursuing you, you're not being honoring to your parents. So all this to say, I say this because this advice is not giving you permission to go out. Like, you guys have to listen to your parents, and have they said you can date? What do they say about it? That's up, because it's between you and your parents. You have to honor your parents in that way. But if you are going to continue pursuing people and exploring relationships, there's a godly way to do it. And there's a way to do it that is better. Last thing I'll say. I'm sorry, I'm rambling. Last thing. It's okay. A lot of times, because we are impatient and because we struggle to trust God and who He said and what He says and what He's doing, we'll settle for less. And God's heart for you is not that you would settle for less because you're impatient, but that you'll trust Him and His timing to lead you and guide you to not only the right person, but also and to do it in a way that is honoring your relationship with Him, that's honoring the other person, that's honoring your family involved, there is a way that's possible. So if I could just share anything with you as you leave this place, is remember that God's way is always better every time. You never will have to rush. If it's God's will, you're not going to have to rush or be hasty, right? That's not the character of God. It's not who he is. But his way is always better. So we have to trust him in that. Any final words, Bree?
That's good. Just for the friends out there, if you're a friend of someone who is dating, you can take all this information and don't use it as a weapon, but as a friend, you can help keep them accountable, but you need to be kind and approach it with love. When I was dating, I had some friends that were a little bit harsh against me, and because I was dating, and so it made me close up and then not tell them stuff. But like, I wish, looking back, I had a group of friends that I could just talk about these relationships with openly, and like another believer, because I was like, I don't know. Like, I remember Googling, like, what does the Bible say about dating, and struggling to not find anything. So I was like, well, I guess the Bible doesn't say anything about dating, but it does. It does. And you can ask us. You can ask your leaders. You can ask your friends. And if you don't know, come ask us. We'll find it, and we'll search it together and figure it out. So yeah, just be a good friend. Be a good friend with calling that out.
And if you're not dating in this season, and I mean, if you guys are wanting our advice, we can tell you what we think, but we want to point you towards God's way. Learn to be a good friend. Because if you can learn how to be a good friend now, that'll only help you when it's time to pursue somebody later. Because like I said in the beginning, this is my best friend. And when we met, we were friends first. We met as friends, and our foundation was built on friendship. Because at the end of the day, feelings are going to fade. My good looks are going to fade. But the thing that it's already faded. The thing that's going to remain, is not only the love that we have for each other, but also the friendship that was established first.
Yeah.
At church. We met at church. It was New Year's Eve.
Through a friend.
It was New Year's Eve as a party.
We were locked into the building because there's a lock-in.
With other people.
And we were cleaning up. We did baptisms, and the pool flooded the foyer.
Yeah.
And so we were helping clean up.
We spent the night with a couple of my friends cleaning up a flooded church, and it was pretty great. Yeah. So it was great. So anyways, we're going to pray. We're going to just